All right, hello and welcome. In this example, we're going to look at how KCL applies to this parallel circuit. This example says there is a total of 380 milliamps of current into 5 parallel resistors, and that's what we see here in this branch. We have our current over here, that's a current source, and we see that that has 5 total branches that lead off of that. They're all in parallel with each other, meaning they all come back down to the same ground line at the bottom. The currents through 4 of the resistors are 10 milliamps, 60 milliamps, 220 milliamp, and 15 milliamp. So immediately when I look at this, I don't know anything about R5. That's what we're asked to find, right? What is I5? The current through the 5th resistor. But the other ones here, we can kind of compare to each other. We can say, well, R3 must be a really small resistor, because it has the most current. Out of 380, it got 220 milliamps. Right? That's quite a bit. We can also say that R1 is probably the biggest resistor, right? Because it has the least amount of current. R4 is probably a little bit smaller than R1. R2 is somewhere in between R3 and R4, right? Somewhere in the middle there. And we don't know what our I5 is, but we can figure that out because we kind of know how all of these are going to compare to each other. Let's do that. We'll use KCL. And we'll say that we have an IT that we can subtract each of the current drops that we know about. So we can subtract the I1, the I2, and the I3, and however many other currents that we have in our circuit. And so we reference that as I to the n, and we set that that's equal to 0 amps. So we use up the total current in all the current branches that we have in our circuit. And so knowing that, we can take the total current and subtract out what we know that we have down each branch. Do that. We'll say that our IT is equal to 380 milliamps, and we'll subtract 10 milliamps and 60 milliamps and 220 milliamps and 15 milliamps. And that's going to be our I5. Do that. 380 minus 10 minus 60 minus 220 minus 15. 75, right? So we have 75 milliamps. Watch out for that milliamps going down through I5. Let us know if you have any questions.